So this is a big stack. There's well over 30 comics, could be about 34, 35, if not more. Um, if you remember from my last video, if you watched it, which if you haven't, what's wrong with you? I did say I'll be doing one of my rare comic haul reviews. Why did I say that? Because I said it, I think it must have just been the endorphins from the Hive picking up 4 weeks worth of comics. And since then, because I've not felt up to recording anything the past few days, more comics have come through the post as well. So yeah, there's a stack. So I guess we'll have to get started. Okay, so first up we'll do the Vertigo pile. And yeah, it's a bit of a pile now. There's four Vertigo issues. So first up, issue 5 of Bleeding Heart. So this is by the regular team of Dennis Camp and Stephen Morian with colours by Matt Hollingsworth. Even just from the cover, it's just a beautiful book. One thing that annoys, but I understand it's the way things are, superheroes still sell. American comics broke out of that bubble for a bit, but it seems to have retracted back into it. And I love the absolute titles, but the thing that make me more happy is that non-superhero genre comics outsold superhero comics. That would be for me my ideal happy place. I read a lot of superhero comics, don't get me wrong, but it makes me more excited when stuff like this does even better. So Dennis Camp, he's got a good history at the moment. Obviously, he's finished off the Ultimates, which I stopped ages ago because I didn't like the monthly jump, but some people liked it, some people didn't. So it's very Marmite. And of course, he also did Absolute Martian Manhunter, and he's doing Assorted Crisis Events. Assorted Crisis Events just leaves me cold. I don't like it when Dennis Camp is up in his head and it's all how clever can it be kind of thing. It just leaves me cold. There's no warmth to his stories when he does it like this. But this, even with the title Bleeding Hearts, this for a zombie story is full of heart. It's a beautiful story. It's a cozy zombie horror if you can get such a thing. So it's following on from last issue where our hero, who has suddenly found that his heart started beating again, he befriended this young child and their mother. Something happens to the mum, so the child now is basically being trapped by the rest of the zombies, because zombies do like this, like almost like a school sports day where they herd up all the remaining humans and then they release them and then they hunt them. And so this is like all the background, what's going on, and of course he can't let on that he's actually become sympathetic towards the humans. He's actually getting part of his humanity back now with his heart beating all the time. It's almost like a reverse of the, was it Edgar Allan Poe's Tell Heart? So when you can, I love how it goes, there's lubbed up. Whenever he's feeling stressed, his heart starts beating frantically like there. So yeah, it progresses the story nicely. It delves into some more of the background characters, this woman especially. And it's just great, and the interplay between these two is just fantastic. It's on par with the earlier issues, and each issue just keeps on getting more and more exciting and interesting. For me, it's a good, solid read. It's a perfect 9 out of 10. And then we have End of Life, number 5. Some people bailed on this quite early on after the first 2 issues. What I will say to you is more fool you. You've got to let cow starts cook. He's not like a lot of comic writers where he does something what you think, oh, it's just going to go this tangent. He starts off that way and goes phew, completely the other way. And that's what's happened with this. This has become like if you dropped, say, some obnoxious hitman from, say, like Pulp Fiction into the town of Northern Exposure. So it's got the warm heart of this almost like backwards town with this jerk being dropped in, but the humanity is rubbing off on him now. So in this issue, her son gets gets kidnapped by the big bad, this guy who's like an evil Walt Disney. And so she basically says, look, it's your fault. Go and get him. And he's going, no, I'm not going to do that. But he does. He falls straight away and he starts chasing after it. But he talks to some of the other townsfolk to get, more background about it all. And the interplay is just great. And I love how they're opening up more about the relationship between him and his dad. His dad's got cancer. His dad was a hitman before he was. And they say they hate each other, but you can see the cracks in this fake hate coming through, where they'll basically die for each other, and that's what this is about. Where basically his dad comes to the rescue with him. But there's a laugh out loud page here. I'm not going to say what it is. In fact, I'm covering up this page because it's, for me, I just burst out laughing when I read it. Even if you just want to read the comic for one fantastic gag, you need to read it for these 2 pages. It's just wonderful. I absolutely adore this comic. Steve Pugh's artwork is just genius. Cal Starks is quickly becoming one of the best comic writers. He's a talented writer, but what he's got, what's so refreshing, like Dennis Camp, he has no pretension. He's like Matt Kindt, but with a big smile on his face, where there's no pretension, but there's gallons of clever ideas, and that's what you get with this. And it finishes on a really good plot twist at the end, which sets the scene for the next chapter in his life. And yeah, it's just a very, very rewarding read. And again, it's going to be a 9 out of 10. And number 5 for The Peril of Brutal Dark. I think this just goes up to 6 issues, and I think there's going to be a break for a bit because they're doing that Texas Blood afterwards. And then I think there's going to be a second, they're going to do it like series, miniseries like they do with that Texas Blood. So this is issue 5. This is like if you crossed an old Gumshoe Noir with Raiders of the Lost Ark. So it's got the beats of like an old Mickey Spillane or the Maltese Falcon or something like that. Sam Spade even, Sam Spade, not Sam Slade, he's from 2000 AD. With the occult trappings of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So there's this big, like, almost like this MacGuffin, where there's this occultic artifact which the Germans have got, and there's these robotic creatures what the Germans have basically commandeered and are getting them to basically do their dirty work for them. There's a really good fight scene in here. This is very much like the fight scene in Raiders, Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, where they're on the hot air balloon. And it's got that almost like cinematic feel. I wish I should have put the John Williams score on to listen to while I was reading this, because it was very much like this. It's just an elongated, extended fight sequence in this issue, but it's a really fun fight sequence. I really enjoyed it. I love pulp. I love things like The Shadow and The Phantom and things like that, and Doc Savage. So this ticks home the sweet spots. Very satisfying issue 5. But you can tell it's like treading water a little bit near the end, because obviously the big finale is going to be issue 6, and I'm looking forward to that. So because of that, I am going to deduct a point, because the pace could have been a bit better. It seemed like there was about 2 or 3 pages where there was unnecessary fighting, if that makes sense. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 5, but still highly, highly recommended. And making its long comeback is a longer way to come back is 100 Bullets: The Years of Anger. So this focuses on Lono, this character here, who had his own miniseries from 100 Bullets. But what's different from this one? It's just black and white, just with coloured lettering occasionally. Now, I enjoyed this. I know people like the Comics Pals hated this. It triggered them. I think if you've never read 100 Bullets, you will not get... You'll be lost. If you read this coming in fresh, reading this as a brand new story, never having been exposed to Lono or any of the characters, you might find it a bit repellent, a bit repugnant, because of the characters. They are horrible people doing horrible things. And it's the whole comic is, that's the whole premise. You get given 100 bullets to kill people. So you're not going to be a nice person if that's what the whole premise of the story is. If the whole purpose of your storyline is to get these bullets to kill people you want to kill. And that covers every corner and every aspect of humanity. So this focuses on different tangents here, but like I said, Lono is the thread running through it. And like I said, for me, I stopped saying like I said, for me, I got a lot from it because I've read 100 Bullets, and especially this page. If you know, you know. And it makes me want to come back for the second one. So I'm going to, just going to give it a 7 out of 10. Not because it's not good, far from it, I really enjoyed it. but it is not new reader friendly. So for that purpose, I'm going to take off a point or two. Now we move on to the white big stack of absolute titles. I have stopped Flash and Green Lantern, but even with stopping them, I've still got 6 absolutes. So we'll start with the big seller, Absolute Batman. Gorgeous cover. Any of the Absolute Batman covers are gorgeous. So Nick Dragotta doing what he does best, which is Batman on acid. Just his panel layouts are just amazing. The colours as well from is it Frank Martin? Yeah, Frank Martin are just amazing. So this is continuing the story from what was set up last issue, where the Robins in this version of Batman are like all these. It's almost like this vigilante group which are being created by Deathstroke to hunt down Batman. So they've got like these big mecha tech armor. So it's like almost like it's like a big anime, and you get the reintroduction of Bruce's friends as well, basically becoming more like their embodiment of how you see them in the normal DC universe. So the Robins are being masterminded by this guy here, who's the absolute Joker, and it shows how evil he really is. And it ends on this page where there's something mysterious coming out of the clay. Enough said. Just wonderful. It's repetitive, having to give it a high score all the time, so I'm going to be really strict and give it a 9.5 out of 10. But really, secretly, it is a 10 out of 10. Then we have a new one, Absolute Catwoman, and this is by sharing the plot and writing duties of Scott Snyder and Shea Grayson. And I've read some of Shea Grayson's work, what she did for IDW, which was really good. And the art by Ben Gao, who is amazing, just beautiful. And what we will say as well, $4.99, okay, that seems to be the average price now, but you get 32 pages of story as well, which is superb, but no extra charge. If that was a Marvel comic, and I'm beating Marvel apart this, but it's true, so I will keep on saying it until they sort themselves out. This will cost you $6.99 if it was 32 story pages. The art is just beautiful. It gives a fun take on this version of Catwoman. She is basically how Batman is in our universe. So she's 25 and she's already like a multimillionaire / billionaire. She's got everything that she needs. And so what she fills her life with now is adventure, doing what she wants to do. But it does flashbacks as well to how she was when she was like a young teen. Some people who reviewed it said they found it hard to follow. I found it quite easy. I don't know, maybe I'm just used to not being spoon-fed plot points, but I found it easy jumping back from the past to the present. I really enjoyed the dialogue. The art was gorgeous. I thought this was a great way of laying the groundwork for this character. Gave Catwoman much more depth than what we've seen in Absolute Batman. And yeah, it was a very rewarding story. The art is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Again, it's DC just getting the talent that work on titles. I mean, just look at that. Again, very, very heavily inspired by manga and anime. So yeah, I'd give this a good solid 8 out of 10. And then we have another one of the newer titles. Absolute Green Arrow by Pornsak Pincushet and Rafael Albuquerque. And who's the colorist? Because the colours deserve a shout out as well. Marcelo Mayello. The colours are beautiful in this. The art, it's Albuquerque's best art I've ever seen him do. I found his work on the Dan Slott Superman title really below subpar compared to his normal stuff, but on here he's ramping it up again. Yeah, it's on the nose. Yeah, it's virtue signaling at times, but it's a great story. It's brutal, it's savage. I love this version of Black Canary, and I'm enjoying just going. I'm not even trying to work out who is the Green Arrow. I'm just enjoying the ride, discovering things as they are discovering it. So it's basically an issue of her investigating who could the Green Arrow be. And then when she thinks she's got it down pat, she realizes she's very, very wrong. I mean, that page is just gorgeous. So yeah, everything about it, from pacing to the dialogue to the artwork, is a pleasure to read. So again, another solid 8.5 out of 10 for that. And then we have Absolute Wonder Woman, issue 21. Beautiful cover by Hayden Sherman. But he's not the artist on the interior. It is Dylan Snook. And I really like him. He's got a touch of Daniel Warren Johnson about him. I really like his fluidity in his line work. So this focuses on Wonder Woman in Hell. She kind of like got going. She ended up there against her will. She was basically trying to help a friend who's been kidnapped. So there's like two parallel stories going on at the same time. It focuses on her adventure in Hell and also what's happening with her friend, which is as we see here. So there's this version of the Cheetah, obviously Wonder Woman's biggest nemesis, and it's basically leading up to, will she be the new Cheetah? And it's very clever how they use magical elements in this, much more so than you would get in the standard Wonder Woman comic. And I love this when she's taking the blood of this character who already is Cheetah, and how it makes her basically envision what she's experienced. But these pages I really, really love. Just these fight sequences, just really, really cool. I love anything to do with mythology anyway. Kelly Thompson is such a natural storyteller. She's got such great flow. And this page, yeah, Hayden Sherman's not on here, but to be honest, with all the absolute titles, I don't think there's been, apart from, let's say, Flash and Green Lantern, which is why I've stopped them, even the standing artists, I wouldn't say filling, they are standing artists, given the A game, and there's some beautiful, beautiful artwork. So really enjoying that. Really great story. 8 out of 10. Then we have the final issue of Absolute Martian Manhunter. Of course, the art is the star of the show. Javier Rodriguez is doing his best work ever. Dennis Camp is doing a clever story. But look at the art. As you can see, I'm not saying much about the plot. I will say I'm going to give the art a 10 out of 10. The art is beautiful. I'm going to give the story a what the fuck is going on out of 10. I'm glad I carried on with it because the art was great. The story sometimes I felt rewarded, other times I just felt, oh, come on, give me a break, Dennis. Stop being such a pretentious snob. Come on, let it make sense. He sometimes feels like Grant Morrison without the fun. Grant Morrison can be as surreal as you want to be, but it's engaging because there's a smile and a wink in his eyes. He's doing it. He used to reference things like a lot of obscure British comedians and all, like his run on Doom Patrol. He did Wavy Davy from Vic and Bob. And again, with Gerard Way, it's the same, where there's a whimsy to the surrealism. There's no whimsy to this. It's cold, it's clinical, it's quite depressing. I think Dennis Camp's quite depressing. I like Bleeding Hearts, but I find a lot of his other stuff quite hard going. And so I can't give the story a mark out of anything, really, because it's not bad. But I can't say I enjoyed it. But I adore the artwork, so art 10 out of 10, and what the fuck for the story. And the final, but by no means least, absolute comic for this month is Absolute Superman 20 by Aaron and Raphael Sandoval. Artwork, beautiful. I'm loving this story. I love the introduction of how they've got Hawkman much more involved now, and I love the introduction of King Shazam. I think it was DC Patrol said he doesn't like this comic much because it's not Superman-centric, but to be honest, Superman comics have never really been Superman-centric. Yeah, Superman's in it, but he's always had a big roster of supporting characters. Even when they're not like other superheroes, there can be issues where Perry White takes the center stage, or Steel becomes more prominent, or Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen take precedence. He's the beating heart of the comic, and that's what you get with this. And it's great. I love this whole issue where they're basically just trying to work out how they can defeat King Shazam, who's basically more like Black Adam. And I love this iteration of Steel as well. It was just great. It was a slugfest, but it didn't feel like a slugfest. There was brains and heart to it, and the artwork was just beautiful. And I really am warming to this version of Lois Lane as well. So yeah, this was great. Again, another 8.5 out of 10. And this reveal on the last page of this new body armor, wow, love it. Yeah, really fun. Okay, we're now moving over to the DC kind of like mainstream. And there's a lot because DC making it hard to say no to the comics, especially with the All In and Next Level. So one comic I'm really enjoying is JSA 21 here. This is Whatever Happened to Spirit Adventure. So it's the continuing saga of the Spectre, who's basically he is just this basically wrath of God now because he's not got a physical body to hold him in. So he's basically this out of control elemental supernatural force, and he's trying to find a host. And that's basically what this issue is about, where he's trying all these different members of JSA to try and find a host body, and none of it works out well. And the art, I just think Olisogi is just doing some really. I don't think he gets his. I don't think he gets sung his praises enough. Yeah, he's a solid artist, but it doesn't mean just because he's solid he can't be a great artist. And I think I love his energy. He's got a Scott Collins kind of feel to him, and I really enjoy that kind of stable, issue by issue quality where you're not having to wait 6 months for the next issue just because he wants to put an extra detail in it. He gets the job done, but he gets the job done in a very satisfactory and engaging and visually appealing way. I love how Jeff Lemire writes these characters, and the next issue will be interesting. They get transposed to the Second World War time, but I've read somewhere that Jeff Lemire is stepping down from JSA, I think, with issue 24. So fingers crossed they carry on with the comic. It'd be a shame to stop it just because a writer's leaving it. I would like them to do what they do with Nightwing, where they get a new creative team on. Hopefully they keep the same artist, but get a new writer on it. I'd like somebody like Alex Paknadel to come on. I think he could do something really interesting with it. But and part of me, like I said, is sad because of Jeff Lemire leaving. But there we go. Marks out of 10. It's going to be a 9 out of 10. I never do not enjoy JSA. It's a dependable comic. One which I think people either love or people hate. I know Comics Patrol, sorry. It's fun. He loves Firestorm, but he doesn't like this almost like a deconstruction of Firestorm. I kind of like it. I like both versions of Firestorm. I like taking risks and experiments, so maybe it's a me thing. Maybe I should be more wanting things to stay the same, but I like people trying to take risks with characters because I think sometimes you can bring out the best in a character when you do that. And I love this version of a unhindered Firestorm. This is interesting how they've got Martin not being as wholesome as he initially was appeared, and it kind of makes sense how Jeff Lemire has written it, to be honest. But somebody did point out, why did they send Martian Manhunter to fight Firestorm when he's scared stuff of fire? But yeah, no, this was good. This sort of basically battling to try and save Firestorm, save the soul of him, and who knows if it'll work. Apparently, this comic was meant to be 6 issues. Now it's been extended to 8, and I've heard rumours that it could be 9. Who knows? I hope it carries on to be an ongoing. Maybe it will with Jeff Lemire stepping down from doing writing of JSA. Because the time scale as well just kind of factions like that. It could be like that. And maybe if he does, it might be that once the story's resolved, we'll get the classic style of Firestorm, what people like. But me personally, I like this. I like how they're taking risks with it. Love this cover as well. So I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. And another one that's dividing people. Some people love this run on Nightwing. Other people are wanting to be more, your classic one-bam smiley Nightwing. I like it. I like this almost like noirish gothic nature to it. It almost feels like I'm going to use a film reference here, and if you know it, then you have good taste in films. It's like Nightwing meets Angel Hearts. That's the kind of feel I get from it. So there's this mystery going on with this bridge where people keep dying. There's this mysterious woman that appears, and these bodies are surfaced up out of the water. This is Dan Watters Unleashed. He was playing it quite safe initially, And now you can tell he's basically doing carte blanche, he's doing whatever he wants. So with Dennis Cowan on the artwork as well, it's bringing a much more cohesiveness to the story. I enjoyed the Dexter story, don't get me wrong, but I'm such a mark for Dexter, for Dennis Cowan, and these two together, it's just great. Straight and noirish mystery. This is bringing the mystery and the detective nature of Nightwing to the forefront, and I'm here for it. And I'm going to give this a good 8 out of 10. And then we have, which could possibly be one of the best Darling comics, Deathstroke the Terminator, by Tony Fleecs and I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to Carmen Di Giandomenico on art and Ivan Placencia on colours, who's doing amazing colours on this. So last issue, Deadshot and Deathblow appeared, so all the Deadheads were together, and now Deathstroke's daughters appeared, Ravager, and it becomes almost like this road movie in the next chunk of the book, where he reconnects with his daughter. Obviously, it's been alluded to that he killed Wintergreen. It can't be that straightforward, but there's the last page reveal that means that maybe it's not that straightforward. But the interplay in the dialogue is just amazing. I love this when they appear in this diner, and the page layouts are getting up there with Nick Dragotta for trying to cram as many panels as you can on a page without it looking cramped. It's just great, and some of the scenes in here are just fantastic, and the dialogue are fantastic in this bit in the diner. Because just when you're warming to Deathstroke, Tony Fleecs then reminds you of how much of a bastard he is, even to his own daughter, and that's how he just nails Deathstroke perfectly. So yeah, this again is I'm going to give this one I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. That's why I didn't want to give Absolute Batman a 10 out of 10. I thought this one is just getting better with each issue. Excuse the foot. And it deserves it to be shouted out and to be awarded. So yeah, perfect 10. Then we're moving on to the Gotham area of comics. So we have Batman number 11. You know what? I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to do the next part on another video because I'm getting to the half-hour mark, and I think this is going to be a lot to sit through because I've still got a lot of comics to go through. So I'm going to pause it here and restart. I'm going to do it in 2 parts, and this is going to be the end of part 1, and we'll do part 2 in a little bit.